who's next? Yeah, who's next? Welcome to the C.L.I.M.B. This is a show dedicated to helping singers and songwriters and indie artists like you create leverage in the music business. Put yourself in a better place. That's what the C.L.I.M.B means. It's an acronym that stands for Creating Leverage in the Music Business. C.L.I.M.B. Genius! Brilliant! Thank you. Let me introduce you to my co-host, Brent Baxter. Brent is an award-winning hit songwriter with cuts by Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, Lady Antebellum, Joe Nichols, and more. And he helps songwriters turn pro by teaching the art, the craft, and equally as important, the business of songwriting. And you can find Brent at songwritingpro.com. Again, that's songwritingpro.com.
And I would like to introduce you to my co-host, Johnny Dwinell. Johnny owns Daredevil Production. It's an innovative artist development company. Basically, what that means is they help you find your sound and they help you find your audience. So not only do they develop and improve your artistry, they also grow and monetize your fan base, creating cash flow.
Money, 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 money.
Daredevil has worked with multi-platinum artists like Colin Ray, Tracy Lawrence, Ty Herndon, and Andy Griggs, just to name a few. And you can find Johnny at daredevilproduction.com. That's production, singular, no S. Why? We all know why. Because there's only one Johnny Dwinell.
Thank God the rest of the world is breathing a sigh of relief on that. How you doing, brother?
Merry Christmas to all of us. I'm doing well. I'm excited about talking about what we're going to talk about tonight. Because you know why? What we're talking about tonight? Because what we're talking about tonight changed my life.
Oh, I love it when we talk about changing lives.
Changing lives, that's right. It's it is. The topic for tonight is, and I say tonight because really, when we're recording this, it is tonight.
Yeah.
A little insider knowledge there. But it's 6 words that changed my songwriting life.
I love it. 6 words that changed your songwriting life. This is going to be good. I'm intrigued already because I didn't get any show notes, so I'm like, come on.
Well, I know. Yeah. What? You guys don't elaborately practice?
So yeah. I am listening. I am listening with the rest of the group here intently, sir.
And me too, because most of the time I don't know what I'm going to say next either. So let me set the scene for y'all. In 2002, I was an unknown lyricist who had just moved to Nashville from Little Rock, Arkansas. All right, woo pig. Almost zero contacts in the music business and like no co-writes with pro songwriters, like zip, zilch, nada, zero pro co-writers. So fast forward 3.5 years, right? It's 2005, and I'm standing on stage at the NSAI Awards receiving one of only 12 Songs I Wish I'd Written awards given that year. And this is voted on by the pro songwriter members of NSAI. The next night was the ASCAP Awards, and where I was going to be receiving an Airplay Award for a top 5 single. Now, at this point, I had a publishing deal at Major Bob Music, and another guy who writes there was like Neil Thrasher at the time, Garth Brooks, some good people. Mm-hmm. And I wrote regularly with other pro songwriters, So what got me from point A to point B? It was those 6 words. Ooh. But first, let's do some iTunes reviews, shall we?
I love this. Hey, by the way, you guys, we continue to have like record month after record month. Like the last 3 months now, we're not beating their record. We're like blowing them out of the water. So everybody's really sharing. Everybody seems to really be liking it, which is, just brings me a whole heap and helping of job satisfaction. Not for nothing. But we're grateful for that. And go ahead with your review.
Yeah, okay. So the first one I'm going to share is a 5-star review, which is awesome. It's from Ironwood 950. And it's the title is Smoothing Right On Through. This is iTunes review. It says, what a road rage relief. I've been catching up on all the past episodes, and my commute seems to have the stress let out of it. And I learned something, too. Thanks, Johnny and Brent. Great shows. Well, thank you, Ironwood 950. Sounds like a golf club. Sounds like a mean golf club in Ironwood.
That's right.
I don't play golf, so I have no idea.
Well, hey, I want to throw one out there, too. We got, this is from Bill Kreider. He says, as manager of a local band, this podcast is gold. I have gotten a lot of good info from the internet about how to do things, and I've avoided a lot of mistakes and things have gone well for us. This podcast is one of those things. In addition, it really is focused not just on local bands, but on the things for artists that want to go to the next level. Very helpful for us band managers out there too, not just aspiring artists. So thank you. Shout out to Bill Kreider. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. All right. So now we left you hanging. Let me go. Leave you not hanging. All right. So what was it that got me from point A to B? All right. What was it that got me from waiting tables at Cracker Barrel with a name tag that said, "Hello, my name is Brent," to having people, to having people introduce me as, "This is Brent. He wrote Monday Morning Church for Alan Jackson." Well, really what took me from A to B was God. So it was a bona fide miracle. Yes, I worked hard, Johnny. I know you're going to say that, but God gets the credit because it wasn't my songwriting skills at the time. Looking back now, it was kind of embarrassing how green I was. Let's start with, it wasn't my networking skills, all right, because I knew almost no one in the music business when I got to town. I was at an industry party talking to some guy. This was like 2004 after Monday Morning Church had gotten cut, but before it was a single. So it was getting out there, hearing about it, Anyway, this guy and I were chatting about this song. I think it was like after the ASCAP Awards. We were all at the Sunset Grill, and it's dark in there, and I'm talking to him, and anyway, he said, he said, "You got any cuts or whatever?" I told him, I said, "Yeah, Alan Jackson just cut my song Monday Morning Church." He's like, "Man, I love that song." It's like, "Oh, you know it?" Because most people hadn't heard it yet. He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, man, I cut it on Alan." And I was like, "What?" And I would look at the lights. I'm looking. It was Keith Stigall, Alan's producer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So a legend in the business, hit songwriter himself, hit, producer. And I didn't recognize him because I'd never actually seen him in person. I'd only seen like old press bio, pictures of him.
Seeing the presence of greatness.
I was embarrassed chatting with Keith. So, no, I was not a networking genius. And let me tell you what else it wasn't about. I wasn't successful because of my, the political pull in the business. Okay, so I already established I wasn't a networking genius. Okay, so I didn't have any pull. And this was my first cut, by the way. Monday Morning Church was my first cut. So it wasn't about my co-writers' political pull either. They're all like, "Oh, you got to know somebody." It's, whatever. Well, Erin Enderlin, my co-writer on the song, it was her first cut too. And she was still in college at Middle Tennessee State University, so
really?
MTSU.
I didn't know that.
Still in college. They're like, student newspaper did a story like, "Local student gets hit song." Yeah. So, she wasn't well established. She was new. She was, in college, like college age in college, not like went back. No, just right after high school. So she did have a well-established publisher pitching the song. She didn't have the full-on publishing deals. I think he was just like working with her, pitching her stuff, digging what she was doing and demoing some stuff. But I don't think it was like the kind of traditional, publishing deal as far as I understand. So she did have a legit publisher working her stuff. But our names had nothing to do with the cut. Nobody knew my name.
Right.
Not many people knew Aaron's, So, okay, it wasn't my networking skills. It wasn't my political pull. Was it just pure songwriting chops? Like, we just wrote the most amazing slap your mama, make your tongue fall out of your face song? No, I mean, it's a good song. I think we wrote it well, as well as we could. I'm a much better writer now than I was then. But really, what God used more than anything to take me from unknown lyricist to hit songwriter was those 6 little words. And 6 little words I ran across in a poem that my mother wrote. And those 6 little words are empty as a Monday Morning Church. It was an image. Something you could pop that picture in your brain, empty as a Monday Morning Church. A really great image became the core of my first cut and changed my life. So that's what I want to talk about tonight, the power of strong imagery in your songwriting. Sound good?
Love that, dude. This is good.
Yes.
All right.
All right. So getting some nitty gritty. So if you're like me and you want to write songs that get on records and get on the radio and compete for the big money, you're stepping into very, very competitive business. Okay. I can't overstate that.
Yeah.
So there are only a few spots available on the album of a major artist. And there are even less slots available on radio. Mm-hmm. And I know radio's not the be-all, end-all, but if it's an established artist, it's a big deal.
Yeah, so, that's the second stage rock, as we talked about, and that's exactly, it. Yeah, that's where you're working there.
Right. So in a business that's competitive, you need every advantage you can get. Okay, small advantages can give you big results. Adding great images to your songs can give you that advantage, right? It can make you more attractive and valued as a co-writer because, like, oh, man, Joey always – he'll come up with some great killer stuff that just sticks in your head, right? They can get you that second publisher meeting. Mm-hmm. Even if your song overall isn't killer, but you have some great imagery there. The small advantage can make them go, yeah, let me hear some more stuff, and just keep working, come back. You know, it can be the difference between that and just like, all right, see ya, thanks, bye.
Yep.
It can, you know, those small advantages can make a record label go from, you know, what else you got to let me keep a copy of what you do got. You know,
yeah.
Let me keep a copy of that. Likewise, better imagery can take your song from let me keep a copy of that to let me put that on hold. I want to play it for the artist. It can be a very thin line between a keep and a hold. Or even, you know, maybe great imagery will take your song from I want to put that on hold to we gotta cut that. We got to record that song. It's just little things that can make the difference between getting a cut and a hold and a keep and a pass, all that stuff. You know, it's so competitive. It's just a game of inches, and you don't know what's going to put it over the top. And for me, songs with really strong imagery has been a definite part of my success. So great imagery can even make the difference between like getting a $300 album cut or like a $300,000 hit single.
There you go.
A little difference. Like, you know, we got two songs we both like a lot, but this one, man, that just has that killer imagery that the other one doesn't. Like, they both sound great. I sound great singing them, but that one, boy, just some of the lines in it that just really sticks in your head. Let's single out.
Yeah, man. You and I both were like panelists at Amanda Williams' conference a couple years back, right? Like two years ago, and I sat on a songwriting panel. Aside from doing the social media tutorial I did, but I sat on a songwriting panel with the publisher, and we listened to this little group of writers that we had that got their songs played for us, and we were to critique them, you know, offer some constructive criticism. By far, number one missing component, imagery. The publisher guy's name was Max. He called it furniture. He was like, you need more furniture in this room. Like, what does the room look like? You know, like that was the sort of metaphor that he used. But it's I think of, especially the more amateur songwriters, the ones that are getting started, they are really not focusing on. It's more vague, right? It's much more vague, and especially in country music, like you can get away with vagueness in pop. Right, you can. There's when you say that's true, like if it rolls off the tongue, right? I mean, you can do Studio and get a hit song. I still don't know what the hell that means, but you're not going to get away with that. But
I think part of it you can. I think part of it is because like Phil Collins wrote that, you know, and he was the artist.
Yeah,
and so that's a different thing. In country, you especially as an outside writer.
Oh, good point.
You're looking for every advantage. You know, Phil Collins, he's great. I'm a fan. You know, he was mostly looking what's the best of what I got.
Yeah, he wasn't going to sell that to somebody else. Nobody else is going to cut this to the studio.
Yeah, and it's great though. But in country, especially, as you're going from the outside, you're trying to hit that target and get that cut. They're looking for, so many artists are looking for the best of what they've written, but they still have a few slots for the best of everything else. And you're in that stack of everything else with everybody else. And you need every bit of your song to be as strong as possible. Because, like I said, it's hugely competitive. And any slight edge you can get to bump up above some other people and to make that cut, that's one of those things that can make that difference. And so, so you talk about early on, people are doing a lot more telling than showing. I tell you I'm heartbroken, you know. Let me give you an example. The difference, and if you haven't heard it, you're going to hear it a ton of times. The kind of the adage, the pearl of wisdom in Nashville is show me, don't tell me, right? In your lyrics, show me what you're talking about. Don't just tell me about what you're talking about. So an example I like to use, the power of imagery and the power of putting a picture in someone's head. You know who knows how powerful a picture is? The people that do the pet adoption commercials. Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, you like the Sarah McLachlan one?
In the arms of an angel. Yep.
Yeah, that one. You know the one, right? You've seen it, and it makes you sad. Why does it make you sad? Because the pictures of the dogs. These sad-looking dogs that look like they've been neglected, mistreated. They would just want somebody to love them. It gets you. It hits you right in the feels, okay? So they could have just said, no, the power's in celebrity. We're going to get Sarah McLachlan to be the picture on there and tell you about these dogs. There are these dogs that are malnourished, they're neglected, they're mistreated, they're abused, and they need good homes. Oh, okay. I get that. I understand it intellectually because I understand dogs are abused and neglected. I understand that. I can process that. It goes into my head. But it pretty much stops there. You know.
Show me the picture.
You show me the picture of that puppy. That I understand it on a whole different level. I understand it in my heart. And
that's the feeling. That's the feeling that we were talking about in the last episode, right? Like that gets into the inner part. That gets into the inner part of your brain. That was the beginnings of who we are as a species. You know, it's not about the logic. It's not about the words. It's like, look at that puppy behind bars.
Exactly. I think Maya Angelou said something about, the tricks to write in a way that it filters through the brain and gets to the heart,
Yes.
And images have a great way to do it, like the pet adoption thing, or the Humane Society, whatever it was. Those pictures got through my brain and hit me in the heart. And they did a whole lot of other people too. It wasn't the information.
Yeah.
It was
think about, what comes to mind when you start talking about imagery, like is Carrie Underwood's Before He Cheats.
Oh, I do blogs on that. I've taught on that.
Guys, when I first heard that song, I cringed. As much as I cringed watching the rabbit get boiled with that Michael Douglas film, man, you know what I'm talking about? Like
Fatal Attraction.
Oh, my God. Yeah. I cringed. Like, I was like, oh, my. I mean, I dug my key into the side of his pretty little souped-up four-wheel drive. I've already got an image of what she's doing. Carve my name into his leather seats. Mm-hmm. Louisville Slugger to both headlights, not a bat. I didn't break out about this. I took a Louisville Slugger to both headlights, slashed a hole in all four tires, and maybe next time he'll think. I mean, you get you just see it happening. You see that's the storytelling part of it. You see the movie, right? And you're there, and you're thinking, what would I do in that situation? And you don't even want to think about that. I'm just like, oh, it was petrifying.
Yeah, and she wasn't just saying, and I got even with you, and I'm going to make you so regret that you ever cheated on me. I'm going to make you so sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I get that.
Real angry.
I'm taking your word for it. But, man, the pictures are the proof. She showed us what she did, and we went, oh, yeah, he's going to think about it next time.
Yeah, you're like, I'm glad I didn't cross her.
I know. And you're like, I've heard some of Carrie's other songs. This dude kind of got off light.
Yeah.
And there's so many great things about that song. I like to use that when I'm teaching a lot. But yeah, so those pictures, they hit people in the heart. If you want to move your audience, the imagery is a great way to do it instead of telling like it. And I've used this example before too, teaching. But it's the difference between pushing the emotion on a listener or pulling that out of them. You do that with imagery. So pushing the emotion on a listener is you tell them about a guy, he's so sad, his girl just left him and he just doesn't know what to do with himself. You're pushing that on them. Okay, he's sad. He don't know what to do with himself. Okay, you're transmitting that to me. I understand that intellectually. But you paint the picture of a guy that's, hadn't shaved in 3 days and he's sitting on the floor of his newly empty home in the dark, with a half-empty bottle of Jack Daniels in one hand and her picture in the other.
Oh.
Then you just paint that picture. You don't have to tell me what he's feeling. You show me. And I go, oh, poor guy. He's lost his girl. She's gone.
Yeah.
You pull that out of me. I present that to the song. I participate. You don't just say, he's sad. His girl's gone. Don't you feel sorry for him? But you show me the picture and my heart goes out to him. It involves me more as a listener.
Yeah. I mean, just when you said those words right there, I've been divorced. I came home one day. I left in the morning. There's furniture in my house. I came home, and it was empty. Empty. And my two boys over there with a 12-packer. Come on, Johnny, we'll get through this. I mean, and I say my two boys. I don't have children, but they were my friends, my best buddies. That were there.
Yeah.
But instantly, I saw my house. I'm there. You had me at hello,
There we go. Well, see, and
I did not think about that when you were talking about.
That's just what I was going to say.
Yeah.
When I was giving you the information,
yep,
you did not do the work. You had it in you, right? It was there.
Yeah.
To connect with that, but I didn't pull it out of you with my words.
Okay, that just happened right now on this podcast.
It's ladies and gentlemen, it's a form of mind control when you use your imagery effectively. You make him think something.
I'm writing a check to Brent right now, and I don't know why, but I feel good about it.
Yeah, that's just free. But okay, so there you go. It involves the listener. It pulled something out of Johnny in this case that maybe he wasn't even thinking about. People aren't going to do the work to put all that, to connect themselves when it's not imagery, to connect themselves with just intellectual talking about emotions.
Yeah.
Johnny's busy. He's thinking about the podcast and making notes and what he's going to say and what I'm talking about. So he didn't do the work, and people aren't going to do the work. But then I've used an image that happened to connect with them. And of course, we didn't plan this ahead of time. We don't practice that much. That, it drew something out of them. So that's something an image can do. And so, we were talking about how the slight advantage can make a big difference. $300 album cut or a $300,000 hit single. Okay, big difference. But in a business that's competitive, the opposite is also true. Okay, your song that's being held for an artist might not get cut because they decide to record a song that's just a little bit better. Or maybe if they do cut your song, they might single a different song instead. And the difference between an album cut and a hit single is huge. Okay, it's not just huge money, which it is. It can be if it's the right artist. Getting a hit single will boost your status and your prestige much more than an album cut will.
And why is that? Because people hear it more.
People hear it more. People in the business.
People are more aware of it.
They're more aware of it. You've hit the big bullseye. You knocked one out of the park, and not many people can do that. So that's the songs that get talked about. Yeah. So you don't want to settle for an image that works. You want to also strive for the best images that you can get into your songs. So it'll make a big difference in your songwriting, and that big difference might just give you that small edge that turns you pro. Okay, you don't want to take the cliche images. You want to go for the hit images, and I may do a whole podcast on that coming up.
I like that. You know what I heard? Can I? I just heard this the other day. It made me laugh out loud. I'm on the phone with Tony McKee's radio guy. Hysterical guys. Randy Barber, good guy, like totally cool. I'm like, how you doing today, Randy? Man, doing all right? Man, I'm fighting like the third monkey trying to get on Noah's Ark. And I was like, whoa, that's a fight, dude. That's some imagery right there.
That's the difference between how you doing? I'm fighting. I'm just working. Okay, cool. No, third monkey on Noah's Ark. You carry that with you, and you told somebody else about it.
Yes, dude. I mean, it stuck with me, man. Like, yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean,
you wouldn't be telling me right now if you just say, I'm fighting like a dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good work. All right. Cool.
So that was like the hit imagery right there. Because I've told, I'm wearing that out. I am wearing that out. Like, I love it. I'm running with it. You'll hear that more. You'll hear that more in future podcasts. But I digress. I'm sorry. I just had to share that with you. I thought you'd let me.
No, that's great. I'm going to steal that too. So, maybe you're out there thinking, you know what? I'm not that much of a lyricist. Maybe I don't write great imagery. And you think you either have to be born with kind of the imagery gene, or you're just out of luck. But, man, put those thoughts away. You can learn a lot about image writing. You can get better. Okay, my first songs didn't have nearly the level of imagery that I write with now. And you know what made that difference? 3 things. Time, education, and practice.
Boom.
Okay, so I can't do much about time. You got to put that in yourself. Mm-hmm. We're doing educating right now. I do it every week on the blog. I do workshops, that kind of stuff. So I'm doing what I can to help educate you. And you got to go out there and seek as many sources as you can to get educated and study the hit songs and stuff. So, and you got to put in the practice. But as far as education, you just got to do it. You just got to learn. I learned from getting my teeth kicked in with publishers and publisher meetings, and being in the room with writers who held me to a higher standard. And you want to keep working too to get better. So anyway, that's what I really want to talk about, was just the importance of imagery and thinking about that, and really just putting that on your radar so that you don't settle. And we'll talk more in depth probably in future podcasts about that. But
I put a piece of content out today on one of my artists' Great quote, just to go coincide with your number 3 thing. Just do it. There's an Amelia Earhart quote. The best way to learn how to do it is just do it. There it is. What a brilliant quote. Just do it. Make a couple mistakes, you'll figure it out. Most people are afraid to get started.
Yeah. I mean, that's the year. More songs.
So that's not all that you have to offer, sir. This is not all you have in store about bestowing your knowledge of imagery upon us.
The education component. Yeah. So I want to tell you about a really cool event I have coming up in January. So next month, coming up soon, or actually this month as this drops. So it's called Use Imagery to Supercharge Your Songwriting like the pros do. It's a songwriting course and a live online workshop. Okay, so you can join from anywhere in the world. It's online workshop, and then you get the other course materials emailed to you. But, if you're looking for those couple words that might change your life, then you want to check this event out. Okay, it's on Thursday, January 19th. I'm hosting live online workshop. I answer your questions, reveal tricks and techniques that you can use to build your imagery chops and to get your songs to stand out. So, like I said, you can join us from anywhere in the world. I've had people show up from Australia, Canada, Utah, all over Nashville, down the road, people just down the street, that kind of thing. So it's pretty cool. But along with the live web shop, you also receive like a killer ebook full of the hows and the whys of writing imagery, and the willpower workbook where you'll build your imagery muscles, and you get like an hour of audio teaching on top of that stuff. So it's like a big package of stuff. So you can check it out. Yeah. So you can check it out at songwritingpro.com/store. So just go to songwritingpro.com/store for ticketing info. At the time of recording, we just got a couple spots left, so they might actually already be gone by now.
Oh, you already promoted that. You already promoted that. That's right. I forgot.
Yeah, it's out there, and these are web shops and stuff I do on a pretty regular basis. So if you go there, if you're listening to this a year from now, which I hope people will be, then go to the same place, go to the store, check out, see what I got going on, because I probably got something that they're all aimed at helping you write better songs, connecting to the business. So, yeah, that's what I got.
Hey, man, that is awesome. Hey, a couple things real quick before we say goodbye. We tried our first interview in December last year with Wade Sutton from Rocket to the Stars.
Yeah.
And then we got some incriminating pictures on him, and we made him come back for a second one.
Yes, he did.
And he crushed it both times. He was absolutely spectacular, and Wade's a good friend of ours. I want to tell everybody that we've got some really killer interviews coming up here, like in the next 2 months, with some big wigs too. So stay tuned for that. We're going to announce who they are right now because we just want to get a solidified date down. But I'm super stoked, Brent. I know you are. We've been back and forth about these guests, and I think you guys are going to, we're going to bring in some really, really good information. I think that interview thing worked well for us, and we're going to try to do that maybe once a month and bring in a really good, solid interview to add to what we're adding to there, and just sort of give some more depth to this podcast and expand our value, I think, is what we're looking to do, right?
Yeah, and my mom can't wait to be here. Oh, man, I'll let it slip.
Oh, you let it slip. What are we going to talk about with your mom?
Dang.
We already talked about Monday Morning Church.
Exactly, yeah. But let us know what you guys thought of the Wade interview episodes and what you'd like to see in the future. Do you want us to do more? I mean, we have a couple that we're definitely going to do, but let us know if you want us to hit the gas or the brakes on that.
Yeah, and if
we want to serve you, and if you dig it, we want to do more. If you hate it, we'll be like, well, that's an experiment.
Yeah,
we learned something.
That's right. And if you have anybody in particular that you'd like us to interview, or somebody from a certain company, let us know.
Yeah,
and we'll
get incriminating photos of them if you can.
Yeah, give us a little leverage. This is about leverage.
Creating leverage in the music. In the Mailing Black.
All right. Well, we are listen, we're off to a bang here with the new year, a brand new year of the Climb, and we're growing and growing and growing. We're excited to have you guys on board. This is all about making you better and putting you in a better position to, number one, just make a living, and number two, knowing how to set that stage so that you look the most attractive that you can to take that next big step, either with a record label or with a private investor, and really bump up to that next level. So with that, we want to say keep on climbing, guys.
And we'll see you at the top.